The Indian cricket team is wearing black armbands on the field to pay homage to victims of the Pahalgam Terror Attack as a mark of respect for the innocent lives lost and solidarity with the affected families. These are the big pictures coming in. The women's cricket team is wearing black bands to pay respects to the lives lost in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror incident. Yashovardhan Azad, the former Special Director IB, is joining us live on the broadcast. Yashovardhan Azad, the Indian cricket team on the field, the women are wearing black in a mark of respect to the lives lost. It seems that all of India is united in the aftermath of this incident, Yashovardhan Azad.
Absolutely right. The outpourings and outrage expressed from all over the country because...
Mr. Azad, can you hear me?
Yes. Is my audio, am I
yes,
not audible?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah. I was just saying that the outrage and the outpouring which has been seen from all parts of the country is because the tourists who were killed over there were from all parts of the country and various sections of life. I mean, a Navy officer, an IB officer, you know, young honeymooning couple, and the killing was more like savagery in front of women and children. And that's why the entire nation has joined in this mourning. And they are awaiting, in fact, they're very happy with the action which is taking place. And in fact, they are waiting for retaliatory action too.
Okay. Also, Yashovardhan Azad, we're learning now about, two high-level meetings, in fact, taking place as we speak. The Director General of the Border Security Force has arrived at the MHA North Block. We're also learning that the CDS has arrived at the Defence Minister's residence. What do you make of these two important meetings taking place on this Sunday afternoon?
The first important thing is that the ceasefire agreement, which holds since 2021, is certainly more advantageous to Pakistan. It has been able to divert about 70 to 80,000 troops to the Afghan border, where 1 lakh Afghans have been expelled. It is having a tense face-off with the Tehreek-e-Taliban. It has put a part of the army in Balochistan to crush the Baluchis. And then it is there to protect the interests of the Chinese CPEC and also to contain the dissent in Gilgit-Baltistan. So all this has happened because they are enjoying that peace on the LOC. It's because of us that we are maintaining the sanctity of the ceasefire agreement. So if the Border Security Force General has been called, then obviously it's about what is happening on the cross-border LOC violations which Pakistan has done in the last few days. And mind you, there's another thing which has already happened. Already expecting retaliatory action, most of these high-value targets, which means these criminals and murderers who are handlers of such savagery, have run away from their madrasas and mosques, hiding in dense settlements. So that's another reaction to discuss all this as well as the strategy for spending the dragnet to catch these terrorists in Kashmir and to strengthen further the security grid. These meetings are taking place.
Absolutely. Yashovardhan Azad, also if we talk now about, the fallout of this incident and of course the kind of reactions that have come in from Pakistan, do they surprise you? Where you have Bilawal Bhutto reacting by saying blood will flow if water doesn't from the Indus water. You have, of course, Shehbaz Sharif, who has also tried to ask for a neutral investigation. I don't know who is fooling. When we've sent them proof in the past, those dossiers, nothing has been done on those. You have now another minister, Mr. Abbasi, saying all our nuclear weapons are aimed towards India. You have, Mr. Asif saying that, they have supported terrorists in the past because of the West. What do you make of this Pakistan reaction that has come in?
I think, Pakistan reaction now is also, they're a little startled with the kind of, it's kind of a lull when they're expecting a kind of a storm after this. Absolutely right. They, in fact, after the Indus Waters Treaty, they said it's war. And they abrogated the Shimla Agreement as if the person who was abrogating the Shimla Agreement was they themselves, because they were raising the Kashmir issue all over the world on UN platforms. And in fact, Shimla Agreement, they were the ones who broke the sanctity of the ceasefire agreement. Now, as far as the nuclear investigation is talked about, you remember even after the Pathankot, they had said this, and after complete dossiers were given to them, even after the complete dossiers given to them after the Mumbai attack, they brazenly denied the entire case. After Headley gave out the names of the ISI handlers from the Pakistan army, even then they did not agree. So, with this, you can make out that these kind of replies were expected. And I don't expect, in fact, this time, I don't even think that the carefully compiled evidence by the NIA, which already has now the intercepts, etc., proving Pak complicity. We should not even bother to give it to Pakistan, but definitely share it with all the diplomats in the embassies here and also in all the world capitals, so that there's a complete justification for the future course of action which we would be taking.
Yes. Let me ask you, Mr. Azad, a quick last question before we also get in the others who've joined us as well. Our other guests, I can see Major General Katoch there, I think, and Major General Asthana as well. But Mr. Azad, where do you, of course, now see the situation in J&K going, of course, as far as tourism as well? It's very sad that we've seen, a lot of course, tourists leave Srinagar because of the fallout of this attack. Do you believe this is going to have a brunt on tourism in the Union Territory in the next days? Do you believe it will take time to have this kind of security once again for that region?
Well, Uday, let me tell you that prior to this kind of attacks, which never used to happen on tourist areas, there were attacks against the Amarnath Yatri. But faith is a strong thing. It can move mountains. Therefore, it did not impact the religious Yatris. Now, as far these tourists are concerned, definitely, tourist is, it comprises about 15 to 20% of the Kashmir economy, but it has a tremendous message, because if 2 crore tourists visit India in 2024, and in which a bulk of them are also foreigners, it sends a unique message to the entire world. In that respect, it's a very, very big hit. But I somehow have the feeling that after a few weeks, and I also feel that when statehood will be given and there will be other things which will be bringing normalcy in a couple of weeks, after these murderers are also caught, tourism will sort of limp back. Of course, we will not have the same kind of numbers, but certainly life would come back to the valley. At least that is a fervent hope, and I do think it may happen.
Okay, Mr. Azad, also a final question now. We do know that, of course, also we are calibrating our response as well. We've said that we will hit them where it hurts. We will, of course, also, take out whoever, of course, was responsible for the Pahalgam attacks. The nation wants that. The families, of course, of those responsible want that. And interestingly, we've got a lot of global support as well. Do you believe then it's likely that action will happen in the short term? Or do you expect it in the long term, Mr. Azad?
Uday, I can tell you one thing. This is the most opportune time when, from Putin to Trump to Macron to almost all the capitals, except perhaps Turkey or China, the entire world is supporting us. And after we present a quick dossier by the NIA, which does excellent evidence compiling, the atmosphere will be becoming even more, favorable. Number 2, we have a host of these friendly countries to share our intelligence with. That is with the USA, that is Australia, which are the countries which are also impacted by terrorism. And therefore, it is the opportune time to strike. The strike limited, precise, well-timed, proportionate, which should be on the high-value targets. Yes, I think it's a very opportune time.
Okay, let me in fact also thank you there, Mr. Azad, for joining us. Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director, India Foundation, is live with us. Let me quickly draw you in here, Major General Katoch. We are learning, of course, of many houses now also being razed to the ground. What do you make of this development that has taken place in Jammu Kashmir? Multiple terror-connected individuals' houses razed to the ground across the valley.
Thank you, Uday. Uday, I think it is sending a message of deterrence. Now, it is one thing really to go after the terrorist, and that is a very elusive target, because this terrorist, he will carry out a hit and then he will disappear back into the jungles and reappear after a very long time, maybe 3 months, 6 months later. But his supporter is there. Now, that supporter, I think, needs to be targeted. Number two, once we know who the terrorist is and he has been identified, he cannot get away with the idea that I have got a secure home. And because I've got a secure home, nobody can touch me. That home has to go. That lesson goes across to his family and to everybody else, that if you take part in an act of terrorism, then you are going to be. Just give me a minute. If you take part in an act of terrorism, then you will be taken out. So I think all across, it is really a message of deterrence which is going to the terrorists, to the handlers, and especially to the families. There has to be pressure from within the families to stop these acts. Uday.
Okay, let me in fact also quickly rope in Major General Shashi Asthana. Major General Shashi Asthana, the houses of course of the terrorists brought to the ground, various houses demolished in Kupwara district, other districts of course, also of course in Bandipura, amongst other places. What is the message being sent out? We don't often see this happening in Jammu and Kashmir. Do you believe it is a step in the right direction? It sends out the right kind of message, not just of course to the world, to those across the border who are watching, but also locals as well. Also, Major General Asthana, as far as of course now these meetings are concerned that are taking place on a Sunday, the CDS at the Defence Minister's residence, the DG Border Security Force arriving at MHA North Block, what are we to read between the lines?
Firstly, regarding your first question, what we are doing seems to be as part of the overall strategy. A lot has been spoken about what is being done outside, whether it is in terms of the diplomatic domain or all other domains. What is being done inside is certainly necessary and in the right direction. The terrorists cannot survive without OGWs, sleeper cells, and their support of the logistic local people. And these collaborators need to be given a message that you will be treated almost in the same way as the terrorists are to be treated, because their crime is no less than the terrorists. So this message of these houses burning and things like that, I think it is very much in place. Also, it also is a dent on the confidence of the others that when we get inside next time, will we get that kind of support? More important than that is the message which the Kashmir itself is giving. So many protests. I am very sure that after this attack, which happens to be an attack on their livelihood and on their prosperity, entire Kashmir has resented. And thereafter, the narrative of Pakistan to say that we are standing with the Kashmiris, I think that takes a big hit, because Kashmiris have given a message, most of them. But then there are few black sheeps, and those black sheeps need to be identified and eliminated, and that is what is being done. As far as the meetings are concerned, I will keep my comments reserved, because there is no point speculating on normal processes of planning and preparation. I take it, all these meetings as processes of planning and preparation. Now, what are we preparing for? Now, that is the major thing which I would like to highlight. What should be the strategy and what is the strategy? See, as was mentioned earlier also, I will not repeat anything what has been spoken so far. The terrorists are minor operators. The actual target and the center of gravity of our operation should be the sponsors of the terrorism, and that is Pakistan military headed by their leadership. Now, how do you handle that military and leadership? So obviously, a multi-pronged approach. Military leadership is surviving on a fact that there is no alternative to power in Pakistan. We have to drive a wedge between Pakistan military and people. We have to convince the people of Pakistan that this military is a liability and their radicalization is spoiling your life, your water, your food, your economy, your day-to-day necessities and your peace as well. Now, to get this message through, certain harsh messages are required. Now, water was one such message. We never did it earlier. But now I think the time has come because Pakistani army's relevance, and they have plowed a narrative for their relevance, is that okay, India is a threat, and because India is a threat, only I can protect you, and therefore all levers of power should be with me. So now these levers of power should move. People must resent this nonsense which they are doing and which their chief is speaking. So that's one part of it. Secondly, now you look at the overall context. Their western borders are strained because of TTP action and BLA action. There is a need to hike up the eastern border. Those western borders should remain active so that they can't pull back forces from there. And we should activate, now they have done the mistake, they have abrogated or suspended the Shimla agreement. So LC is free for all, and they have also done another mistake of LC violation. Now we should start firing, and the activities of the so-called preparations for operations, and they are also doing those preparations for operations activity, that must engage them sufficient amount of forces so that they are thin everywhere, and it is easier for people who are targeting them to target Pakistan military because they will be strong nowhere. Secondly, when they fly their jets and when they send their attacks to the concentration areas, etc., it requires a lot of money. This is a country which has $9 billion, which can sustain 2 months of oil. So therefore, if we can make them react in a manner that they keep running around and that 2 months becomes 1 month and they run into a crisis of no oil in the markets, people will feel the pinch. So it has to be an economic war, it has to be an information war. Information war also, the entire media, the media campaign should be to tell the people of Pakistan that this is a military which is creating some kind of chaos, which is trying to tell you a narrative that of the problem of in Kashmir, whereas Kashmir is prospering. And on that false propaganda, they are spoiling all your happiness and diverting all your funds because the defense budget is still expanding, whereas their income is going down. So this is the narrative which needs to be played up. Similarly, even for the politicians, the narrative has to be played up. You guys are blindly, nobody is resenting Pakistan army. So it's the time that they must resent that. Similarly, when Munir says Indian Hindus and Muslims can't stay together or they can't be together, obviously, firstly, this is applicable to Pakistan. And he says Hindus and Muslims are two nations.
Yes.
Our narrative has to tell them that we have more Muslims in India than entire Pakistan population.
Okay.
And are living happily together. So both these theories which he is trying to say are actually...
Do you also believe, Major Katoch, it's going to be a multi-pronged response to Pakistan? We've already seen, of course, a strike on water through the suspension of the Indus water treaties. We've seen, of course, this action being taken regarding, of course, their High Commission restructuring and, of course, people-to-people ties taking a downgrade. So is it a multi-pronged approach? We are, of course, also now waiting to see what the military setback for them will be. But do you believe it's going to be a multi-pronged sort of rebuttal this time?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Uday. Uday, what has happened so far is simply a trailer. And we can see the impact of that trailer. The Pakistani society is rattled, their military is rattled, and their political establishment is rattled. And the beauty of it is they don't know really what is going to come. Whether something happens within the next 24 hours or within the next 3 months, they don't know. And it is this, this level of not knowing, of what the future is going to bring, this uncertainty in their minds, I think is playing down very heavily on them. But coming down to that, what actually are the possibilities? One, in my view, the political and diplomatic campaign against them will continue apace. It has already started. It was there for a very long time, but it has picked up pace. the way the external affairs minister has been meeting people, and the way our embassies are reacting with countries across the world, especially in the Muslim world. That is one aspect, and Pakistan is getting increasingly isolated. The second thing is economics. Now, economics is simply not a question of trade. Trade is a very major aspect of economy, but there are many things associated with it. And I think Pakistan is going to lose out very heavily when we are looking at the next 1 to 2 years as far as the economy is concerned. It is a simple aspect, that if Pakistan is selling goods to a particular country, India can undercut that price. And if you simply undercut that price, and if I'm prepared to take a loss of say $100 million, Pakistan's economy will be ruined. That aspect will take place. But more importantly, I think is going to be on the military aspect. There will be a military action, whether it is in the land, the sea, the air, whether it is all three or none. We don't know. And as General Asthana very rightly said, none of us are going to speculate. But the point is, they are speculating. In the Pakistani mind, in their military mind, they are thinking of it day and night. What will India do? And they know India will do something, because it is not simply a statement by a politician. It is a statement made by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and he has never made a statement which he will not execute. It is not a statement made by any other politician of India, and he has made it twice. And I think that itself sends a message. Now we have people like one of the Pakistani ministers. He is threatening us with 130 nuclear missiles. I mean, nothing could be more laughable than that. And I think it is high time we tell them very clearly, your nuclear threat won't work. One nuclear weapon on India and 20 crore Muslims of Pakistan will be destroyed. That is the level of counter-reaction. There won't be anybody left that side. So, I think when people keep talking this nuclear warfare and all that lightly, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. India will not attack first with a nuclear weapon. We'll never do it. It's part of our policy. But it will retaliate. And I think that's the message which should go across to the Pakistanis.
Absolutely.
Don't even think of it.